As public sector agencies continue to move forward to embrace AI, one factor that's becoming increasingly important is the underlying database systems and solutions they rely on to decipher ways to improve agency operations, deliver services more effectively and securely, and drive innovation. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about how one organization is moving ahead with AI is Manuel Medrano, Director for Cyber Monitoring and Operations at the Bureau of Diplomatic Security within the State Department. Manny, if I may call you that, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, one of my first questions is how are advances in AI, database technologies, and cloud computing making a difference in enhancing your organization's operations or services?
Well, thank you. No, that's a great question. And I should start by pointing out something first, right, that we often get lost in the mix, right? As cyber defenders, we must admit that when we hear AI, it's a little bit of a scary thought, right? But we must look at AI, what it can do for us, right? At the same time, we have to look at AI about what can it do to us. So for us, it's a two ways, right? So as techies, it is natural, and we get very excited, right, about potential AI capabilities, right? But as cyber defenders, we have a slightly different important consideration, right? Because artificial intelligence is definitely a threat vector. And we must be aware about how malicious actors are using or also that could use AI against us. So this is a dynamic situation, and we must be stay aware and adjust when appropriate. With that said, we cannot ignore the potential of AI. AI is a tool, it's a capability. And we're embracing AI here at the State Department in my office to assist us with the ever-growing deluge of data logs, tools, and sensors to protect our enterprise. Humans will and must remain central to our defenses, but the volume of data, the activity, it just makes it unrealistic for us to scale without other capabilities like AI. So we are looking at AI as part of that answer. Now, let me dive a little bit more into the specifics of to the response. One of the big things that we're looking to do in at State Department is evolving in the way we collect, the way we analyze, and the way we visualize the data in support of our cyber defense. We have invested heavily in collecting logs and deploying tools and sensors that provide that data. That's driven by M2131. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with this requirement, but it is also part of our strategic approach. Getting our hands on the data just sets the foundation. Now, to achieve a positive return on investment for this strategic roadmap on that investment is to enhance our operational capabilities. We have to fully leverage that data. We're looking to use that log data coupled with data coming from existing tools and sensors to shorten our detect and response times. That is our ROI. It will also help us with investigations and post-event forensics as well. At the center of this approach is an analytical engine using artificial intelligence coupled with machine learning as well, where we define our vision under the banner that we're christened by data-driven cyber defense. There is nothing totally new about this approach, but we're defining it under a single vision that brings all of our efforts together into one focus. It is about getting the right information to the right hands at the right time to drive to the right action.
And can you point to maybe one particular challenge that you're hoping AI and these sort of database capabilities will actually help you address?
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's definitely challenges, right? Cyber, it gets challenging day by day, but I'll quickly run through a few. First, much of the market is focused on generative AI. I understand why, and that's great. But the needs for cyber defenders is a little bit different to us. Vendors are starting to catch up with the needs of our community so that the challenge is starting to fade. Next is finding the people who understand AI and are able to deploy and use it to achieve desired outcomes. As we all know, cybersecurity talent, especially folks with knowledge of apply AI, it's hard to find. Fortunately, we've been fairly successful at drawing and retaining great dedicated talent, but it's still an ongoing challenge. Lastly, I'll cite a very common problem, the budget. The federal government operates on a 3-year budget cycle, meaning that we have to ask for money and get funding 3 years later. Our budget requests have to anticipate what threat actors will be doing 3 years out, as well as what technology capabilities and costs will evolve in that change. That includes what will be available in the AI market. So we've been fairly successful in this area, and successive administrations in the Hill have realized the importance of our work. It's still definitely a challenge that we continue to work with as we move forward.
That budget challenge is indeed a challenge for all planners, particularly because the market's moving so fast, right?
Exactly.
Well, can you talk a little bit about how more powerful database technologies and analytics capabilities are, in fact, starting to really help improve your organization's operations?
Yeah, great question. Well, let me tell you, I see examples of this daily. It is important to note that automation must be coupled with a dedicated people following an established, proven process. We cannot move away from basics. It's all about the people, the process, and the technology. Without driving too deep into the details, I'll cite a recent event that happened. Based on lessons learned from earlier incidents, our SOC, our Security Operations Center analyst, created a profile or filter to look at log data. It is important to note here that the logs being analyzed were what you might categorize as above and beyond logs were not the standards basic logs. Analysts were able to see a few false positives, as was expected, but then notice a trigger that coupled with other indicators that caused a little bit of an alarm. It was a true incident with our Office 365 account in the cloud. We were able to act quickly, stopping the penetration before significant damage was done. We shared this information with our partners within the government and also with industry, right? And we work hand in hand with Microsoft, federal agencies, critical infrastructure across, right, to help bring this remediation. And then we also work with our allies so that we could be able to protect ourselves against serious threats. Microsoft issued mitigations, and then also Microsoft also started to make the advanced logs part of their standard offering, which is a hyperbole to say that our national security was enhanced because of how we were applying the tools and the capabilities that I talked about, which includes people, process, and technology to the cyber defense of the Department of State.
So next, I'd like to shift a little bit from internal operations to serving your external customers. And can you point to maybe also how these powerful database technologies and analytics are improving the level of service, to your customers and through your organization?
Yeah, I mean, we are a customer service driven organization, right? So even externally to our organization, right, we are also leveraging AI in many different ways to be able to automate and then provide those services. One important comment that I make to the team all the time, which is don't forget about the mission. And to me, one example of our mission is from a cyber defense, we're definitely enabling the mission to make sure that the communication methods across, right, for that US citizen abroad to be able to contact the consular section and be able to get assistance from the consular section when they're in need or in trouble, right? We better be able to have a secure communications and the availability of that system in order to work. So we can never forget that we are a customer-driven organization, and our customers include the public, our external taxpayers, and then also we have our own customers within the State Department, which is our diplomats who are both domestic and overseas, and other government agencies as well.
And then lastly, Manny, can you talk a little about how, again, the modern database technologies are really helping with automating operations and improving agility and providing advanced analytic capabilities that, in fact, are really enhancing your overall operational resiliency?
Well, I mean, this is the core of what we do. I can point to a few examples, but I also want to make a note, right, that it is not a static environment. The underlying technology that we're tasked with protecting and the way it's used, it's constantly changing and evolving. Okay, that's coupled with the fact of malicious actors that are constantly evolving and improving their techniques and capabilities. Today's success could be tomorrow's failure. And we have to be constantly evolving our technical solutions, but looking only at the technology provides only partial of the solution. We have to ensure that we have the staff trained and equipped to develop an orchestrated solution, deploy that solution, and then maintain and operation that solution to achieve desired outcomes. We have to develop and constantly refine procedures as well, allowing us to leverage past experience and consistently drive best practices. Technology is a major part, but it is not the overall solution. And I think that's something that we have to key on, right? Technology is only a complement. For examples, I'll avoid naming specific vendors, but I will talk about how we apply technology in these areas. The right answer for technology is not about a singular area or a single product. It is about combining products and then leveraging those to achieve end-to-end results. For example, case management software is essential to tracking an issue, right? And seamless collaboration. Creating a data lake that collects logs across the global operations requires a solution that can ingest and retain the data. That requires a robust technical solution. Applying the analytics against that collected data requires the dynamic technical solution. Visualizing the results of that analytical process then requires flexible technical solutions. And that just scratches the surface of our technical needs as cyber defenders in such a large global organization as the State Department.
All great points. Well, Manny Medrano, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us here and share some of your insights about the importance of the underlying database systems and solutions that organizations like yours rely on to really keep up the proper cyber defense posture. So thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you so much. Glad to be here.